Hi, everyone, and welcome to the podcast of La Maison Marguerite. Thank you for taking the time to be with us tonight. I am Diana, and I'm going to be your host for this episode. First of all, c'est quoi la Maison Marguerite? La Maison Marguerite est un organisme qui vient en aide aux femmes qui en ont besoin. And today I'm very lucky to actually be with one of their art therapists. And for your information, l'épisode va être également, en effet, en franglais. On va faire du français et du anglais back and forth. On va commencer avec toi, Christy. So, how are you? Thank you for being here with us.
I'm good. Thank you for having us.
Oh, you're welcome. First of all, can you actually tell me more about you and how did you become an art therapist?
Oh, well, I am an artist and have been an artist all my life, but have also always been interested in helping people and working with people. And I actually just finished my master's in art therapy during COVID, so 2020.
Congrats.
Thank you. At Concordia here in Montreal. And within 6 months, and during that period where we were in lockdown, I got hired by Maison Marguerite. So it's actually my first working job as an art therapist as well.
Okay. Do you like it?
It's amazing.
And have you ever been on the other side? Have you ever been a client of being an art
It's interesting you
class?
asked that. I've done group work using art therapy. I've also done drama therapy, which is another form of creative arts therapies, but you're using the body more, and so it's just a different modality under the umbrella of creative arts therapies.
Okay, can you explain actually like what's an art therapy class?
So art therapy is, we're using materials. We're using like art materials, but art materials can be very vast as well. So it could be painting, it could be sculpture, it could be clay, it could be found objects. I use a lot of textile work with the clients. It could be weaving, sewing, knitting, and we also get in the garden. I also bring body movement into it through yoga. So it's quite the practice that I have here at Maison Marguerite. It involves a lot of different ways of working. So maybe a less traditional way of art therapy. And the idea is that it's a non-verbal form of therapy. There's talking for sure. There's always talking, but by using materials as opposed to just staring in each other's eyes, or it's a little less intrusive maybe, or easier to I would say potentially can make people more comfortable. Okay. And also in the context of Maison Marguerite and women who have experienced a lot of trauma, they often arrive feeling very voiceless, where they haven't had the opportunity in their life to express, or there's been a lot of secrecy, or they've had to hide a lot of themselves, or being silent was a form of protection. And so through art making, it can slowly start to increase their expression, their self-understanding.
Est-ce que le but, it's more to practice the way you express yourself, or more to find the problem and find a solution?
That's interesting. We were just talking about that. The idea of really a strength-based approach. And I think often, and so how I would define that is just often in our society, we're looking at the problem. What's the problem? What's wrong? What's not working? And while that's there, we really work to find the person's strength and solution focused, or more building self-esteem, building on the things that are already strong in them, and really focusing on that to help elevate self-esteem and autonomy, as opposed to focusing on everything that hasn't worked, or all the sort of difficulty. And that's going to come up because
Right.
it's there, but it's just a different way of working.
And you told me earlier that you actually talk while you're doing this, right?
Yeah, and that
So they can
again,
express how they feel. Okay.
I think it's very individual. Some women prefer to talk more than create, or sometimes art therapy could even just be like choose an image from these images that I present, like magazine collage images, or create a collage from that and let's look at it, or choose a theme and create a collage. So that some people will not talk at all, and it's the process and the action of making, and it's not about the final product
Of
as
course.
art kind of can tend to be, art making, but it's about being in action, sometimes even just that action of making or drawing a line and focusing on breath. It ends up being about emotional regulation too, calming the nervous system, bringing the body to stillness, which is also something that has been hard to do in the lives of a lot of the women.
Of course.
Mhm.
And you've been doing this for 2 years, you told me. So have you saw some actually people getting result from it?
Yes, well, I would say again, the wonderful thing about Maison Marguerite, having all these different, having a short-term shelter, mid-term shelter, long-term permanent apartments, that the women, if they're able and ready, can go through all of those different services. And I have the opportunity to follow the women a long time. And so some women, including the participant who's here today, have been with me. It's like we're learning together. The process is unfolding together. We've been together almost since I started. So yes, I mean, we're not really result focused, or maybe it's just a different way of saying it, but there's lots of transitions, transformations happening for people who participate.
Et je suppose que every participant, their need is different.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so do you have like for her, we're going to do more like painting, and for her, she likes more going outside?
Yeah, and maybe that same person will be painting one day and going outside the next day.
Okay.
Or and I think Maison Marguerite as an organization is amazing about that too, that they really take into account the individual. So it's very person-centered, the care that we offer. That I would never say we're all doing this
The same
thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So if we do groups, for instance, generally I'm just putting all kinds of material out on the table.
Okay, cool.
And then people choose what they're drawn to. Because you may hate a certain material, but it may be the material that I love, you know.
So it's really about the feelings.
It's about feelings. For some people, the expression comes through the physical action.
Okay.
Some people might, I mean, if we take clay as an example, someone might sculpt an object that's symbolic of something, and someone else may just punch that clay, you know, or stretch it or roll it, but the rolling is really, really soothing and ends up being a kind of self-soothing process that allows them to talk at the same time or realize something. And I was thinking earlier, the other thing that often happens is a material can make us reminisce about childhood or our histories, like certain materials that we used when we were children.
Right.
A lot of people are creative when they're young, and then there's this long pause of going to school and getting more academic, or life takes a turn and we lose touch with that part of ourselves. So even returning to the creative process for a lot of people, it offers them, a chance to reminisce, but also a chance to just explore in a safe place, to take risks, but with materials as opposed to out in life, and build confidence, share skills when we're in a group too, learn new things. Yeah.
Et combien de fois par semaine ça se déroule ici?
Well, with individual clients, when I'm seeing people individually,
Okay, you do individually and groups.
group, yeah.
Nice.
So there's a
okay.
group a week, but here, so in the studios, and then also at our permanent apartments.
Okay.
And then I also see individuals.
Okay.
And some individuals want to see me every week, so we do that. Some people, if it's women coming from the short-term side, I may just see them once.
Okay.
Or I may see them the 6 weeks that they're here, and it could continue after if they're able to get here. Or I may see them when they come back, if they
Wow.
come back through the services again. Or I may see them if they transition into our studio apartment. So there's a lot of flexibility.
And is it accessible à toutes les femmes
Yes.
de la Maison Marguerite?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Nice.
And so they generally, when women arrive here, they're told about the services. So
Okay.
if they arrive in the studio apartments, when they meet their intervenant, she will let them know that we offer this service of art therapy, that there's an open group so anyone can come, or that there's individual art therapy. And we could make an appointment and just see, and I can sort of share what it is, what it could be, and
C'est une
ask.
bonne façon de commencer.
Maybe.
Ouais.
Mhm.
Merci. I'm gonna continue with you. Thank you, first of all, thank you so much for accepting to be here with us today. And
Well, thank you. It's good to be here.
oh, you're welcome. Actually, I'm gonna start with, for you, I have one question before going to art therapy. I would love if you can actually tell us, for you, what does it mean, La Maison Marguerite?
Oh, it's a wonderful place to get support and resources. The entrepreneurs help with these kinds of things. Also, I found in both Maison Marguerite, in the studios, I was here, and then I moved to the permanent apartments. And just at the point that I was at in my healing is that I was just treated with so much dignity and respect, and that meant a lot. That meant a lot.
Well, I'm happy for you that you find a place to be safe.
Yes, and it's safe. I feel very safe.
Good for you.
And they do have good security that helps me feel safe.
Oh, that's good. That's good. And for the art therapy, actually, what made you go more for the art therapy than another therapy?
Well, I'm not an artist, but no means am I an artist. I never was anxious to draw even a straight line. During primary school, a couple of years I had piano lessons during art lessons. So I never really felt like I could paint or do anything like the other children. So it was the experience to do something, take a little risk, because I really wanted some healing in certain areas that I hadn't gotten. And I had guilt and shame that were really bothering me and not letting me move on so much, you know.
And you find that art therapy actually helps?
I didn't know in the beginning.
Okay.
When I moved here, I got a little letter from Christy, and I thought, I'm going to try this. And Christy and I got together, and first of all, I do suffer from chronic pain, so rather than getting to work on my emotions with the art therapy, I thought, because that's personal, I had to get to know Christy, we worked on it for my chronic pain. We take big, nice, sweeping brush strokes, you know, and get that nice stretch in. And we started focusing on how it made me feel physically.
Okay. Okay.
And then I got very comfortable with Christy. We clicked, and so I've been introduced to different things like clay. I liked at the beginning the squishy. I could mold it, you know, the way I want to do it, whatever you want. So That was fun. And then at this point that I'm at, I'm so blessed because I'm in Marguerite too, like so blessed. But also, my apartment has a little back area where I can grow plants,
Okay.
and I have a cat.
Nice.
He's beautiful.
Yeah.
His name's Curry.
Curry.
We call him King Curry.
King Curry.
Yes.
King Curry.
He just didn't get the crown like
He's
King
not
Charles
here
did. So, like, all of these things have meant a lot to me and mean a lot to me. I've just now also gotten a community garden close to
Nice.
our place. That's just a little walk. And I can grow vegetables, and I can thereby sustain my, lower my food costs. You know, it's getting crazy. But it's the art, and it's the combination of meditation that Christy, whatever the art or experiences would set off, Christy moved with it. So I received meditation help for my anxiety, and I breathe. I received some yoga. Nice. I did know yoga, but Christy's helped me develop a routine that I do in the morning.
Of yoga?
Yeah.
Nice.
This opens up. Oh, well, yes. It helps me physically, it helps me emotionally, mentally.
So good for you.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, and then this morning after that, I went to my garden and watered it, the big garden.
That's a beautiful morning.
It's fabulous.
It's a beautiful morning.
It's fabulous. Well, when the weather's like this,
Yes.
let's do it.
Yes. And do you go to every class every week with Christy?
No. There's times where I can't, I'm in too much pain.
Okay.
My chronic pain comes and goes with the weather, stress, blah, blah, blah.
Okay. Do you do only one by one, or you do the group
I
sometimes?
do the group. I really like the group because having been in the system for 4 years before I came to Marguerite, you're very closed off to other people. They come, they go. You don't know who they are, what they are, so you stay alone. And then there was COVID, so
That didn't help.
that's very isolating.
Yeah.
So with the group, it's a 2-hour-long group, but
2 hours, nice.
Christy will let you come and go as you please. Sometimes there's a theme to the group and we all get together, or sometimes we just do different things. Like someone might be sewing, another person might be doing a collage.
Have you ever done something that it's in your apartment now?
Oh, yes.
Yes?
Oh, yes. I put my paintings up. They're masterpieces.
Oh, yes.
Says the
One
non-painter.
day it's going to sell. My
Oh, I
daughter's
hope
going to
so.
get rich.
And we're going to give it all to Maison Marguerite.
Oh, definitely a portion. Definitely a portion. I put two of my acrylic canvases up, and I worked with acrylic and textures, and which has all been taught to me by Christy. I knew nothing. I couldn't, like I say, draw a straight line with a ruler. So, then I've got some textures in there, and I also did a sparkling cover over it all. So, in the sun, when the sun comes in my window, it hits it, and sometimes it's all sparkly.
beautiful.
And I look at that, I just go, "That's so pretty.
It
I
is.
did that."
Good.
I'm not an artist, but I did that.
Yes. And I actually have a question. I think this is, like, if I was in a class of art therapy, I think this is what will be really difficult for me, is how can you know that this feeling is for this art? Like, if I'm angry today or, like, I'm sad, what are you more drawn to do?
Generally, if I'm angry, I prefer to go for a walk or do something physical with Christy,
Okay, with Christy.
if she's available.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like the painting that was in your house, do you remember the feeling that you had?
Oh, yes. Every time I sit down, it's different feeling I'm getting. Sometimes with the past, I get a zinger, it comes in, it hits me, and I might just think, I'm going to draw a pretty rainbow, And actually, with the weather, I have my easel outside, and I'm painting outside. So definitely my emotion that draws me to, because I'm able to do it not just with Christy, but also on my own in my apartment.
Yes, that helps.
It's great, and the supplies are donated, and it's wonderful.
Nice. Par la Maison Marguerite?
I don't know.
Yes.
You have them at home, but I don't know where they're from.
No, Christy just says they're donated, and I go, thank you.
I love that. Well, thank you so much. Thank you. I really actually learned a lot about art therapy, and I didn't know a lot about it. Thank you so much for being with us. Oui, l'épisode était plus en anglais, par exemple, qu'en français. Merci beaucoup. Puis si quelqu'un a plus envie de s'impliquer de toute forme, vous pouvez aller visiter le site de la Maison Marguerite. Il y a plusieurs façons de donner. Il y a également aussi un rapport d'activité. Vous pouvez aller voir. Vous allez voir toutes les activités aussi qui s'offrent à la Maison Marguerite. Merci et bonne écoute.